Before we start this documentary, I'd like to say thank you to all Drugstore Film subscribers, especially our day ones. I want you all to sit back and enjoy this documentary. We've done a whole lot of research and even reached out to several people from the south side of Chicago. So get your snacks and drinks ready. Turn off the lights and lock the doors. It's about to go down. You're gonna need a fat backwood for this one. If it's possible, watch this on a television instead of a phone. And ladies, if you're alone right now, I suggest you stop watching now and call a friend over. This is a very dark and spiritual documentary. And please be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Thank you for your time. Now enjoy the show. You're watching the Jaro City story. Sit back and relax. Jaro City is one of the biggest street gangs that's involved in the drill culture. They're also one of the only drill gangs that's still around and strong. Unfortunately, there aren't any popular drill rappers from Jaro City. Many people don't know that Jaro City played a huge role in the drill war. Most of STL members were Jaro City members at first, and Taekwondo World is just a branch of Jaro City. In this documentary, we give you the full history of one of the most infamous gangs in Chicago. Here's the Jaro City story. It all started in the Woodlawn neighborhood on the south side of Chicago in the early 2000s. Back then, BDs and GDs got along well. Sets such as Pocket Town, Sarkin City Gangsters, Paxtown, and ABM were some of the popular gangs back then, especially ABM. ABM, short for All About Money, was a mostly BD set. They was probably the biggest gang in the neighborhood at the time. ABM members were known for making money and throwing wild house parties. A 22-year-old by the name of Jarvis Smith claimed ABM and Cashapp boys. Jarvis was loved in the neighborhood and was cordial with many members of different sets such as Cashapp boys, BSG and Outlaws, which were all GD sets, and Dark Side, which was an all BD set. Jarvis's father Lil Jerry ran with Gangster Disciples leader Larry Hoover in the 80s and early 90s. This made Jarvis more popular in the neighborhood. Around 2004, Pocket Town began feuding with Sarkin City. Bodies began dropping and it was time for everyone to pick a side. Jarvis was cool with members from both sides. One guy Jarvis was cool with is a guy who went by the name Lil Les from Pocket Town. Lil Les didn't like when Jarvis got closer to the Sarkin City members. Lil Les was a stone-cold killer. At the time, he had allegedly had over 7 bodies. On December 18, 2005, Jarvis and ABM threw a huge house party in the 7000 block of South Stony Island Avenue. At around 11:20 p.m., Lil Les and several other Pocket Town members arrived at the party. Jarvis stops them before they could enter and told them they're not invited because there's Sarkin members inside the party. Lil Les felt disrespected and maybe even embarrassed. Like I just said, Lil Les had love for Jarvis and ABM. Lil Les and his crew left the party after a little back and forth with Jarvis. At approximately 2:02 a.m., Lil Les and his boys returned and rushed the party. Lil Les shot Jarvis in the face. Jarvis died on the spot. Many people at the party witnessed the shooting. ABM immediately began sliding for Jarvis. Members of sets such as ABM, Cashapp Boys, BSG, Darkside, and Outlaws began claiming Jaro City, honoring Jarvis. By 2007, Jaro City was a well-known gang. Their territory was located from 61st and Vernon to 63rd and Vernon. Some of the top members at the time were Dome, 50 Shots, Twinkle, and Hottie. Those guys put Jaro City on the map, and they're considered some of the original Jaro City members. Back then, Jaro City was cordial with most of 600 older members. This was back when people such as Lil Boo and 600 Breezy were claiming a GD set by the name of Brick City. Keep this in mind because this plays a major part later on in this documentary. People from Jaro City had established relationships with people from 600 before 600 even became a gang. Jaro City was known for making money and throwing dangerous parties back then. Their territory generated a nice amount of cash. Crack cocaine, pot, and pills were all being sold daily. Jaro City main members had a lot of guns due to this. In 2008, Brick City began feuding with Jaro City members. D-Thang, who was close to Brick City at the time, had allegedly gotten into it with Hottie. Some say it was over a female, but I'm not sure. We've reached out to several Jaro City members in Chicago to confirm this. On the evening of September 21, 2008, D-Thang along with a few Brick City members killed 25-year-old Hottie on the 400 block of 62nd Street. Many Jaro City members began claiming Hottie World shortly thereafter to honor their deceased friend. Jaro City quickly retaliated on Brick City. For days straight, they allegedly shut up Brick City's territory. Booka 600 and his brothers all claimed Jaro City before claiming Brick City. When it was time to choose a side, Booka and his brother Lil D chose Brick City, but his brother Ronte chose Jaro City. In 2009, many of the younger steppers in the neighborhood began starting their own gangs. D-Thang and Lil Boo start 600, a Black Disciple gang. Many of the young Brick City members began claiming 600. Twink and Dome were looked at as leaders for Jaro City. Most of the younger Jaro City members came up under them. People such as Skinny G, Tutu, Lil Mikey, and Motor were all Twink shorties. Twink taught them all how to do hits. Lil Mikey even made a name for himself by going out on hits with Twink. Marshawn Jackson, also known as Twink, was 21 years old at the time. He was the heart of Jaro City. When other Jaro City members needed help, they called Twink. For money, Twink sold crack cocaine and pot. He even ran a trap house on the block. 62nd and Vernon had become the gang's main block. They called the block V-Love. Jaro City was allies with EBT, Mob, 51 Young Money, and a new gang who went by STL. STL, short for St. Lawrence, was created by C-Ball and Dutchie. Most of the shorties who couldn't be down with EBT began claiming STL. Even some Jaro City members began claiming STL, especially after the death of Tooka. If Jaro City, EBT, and STL would all have been one, they would have been the strongest street gang in the Woodlawn neighborhood. But the truth is, the three gangs didn't get along or even trust each other. Lil B was one of the only EBT members who hung out with both STL and Jaro City members. Although the three gangs were allies and lived in the same area, Jaro City had a few rules. One of the rules was, never let a non-Jaro City member use a gun. Out of the three gangs, Jaro City had the most guns. EBT had several guns, but STL maybe had 2 working guns until Boss Trail jumped fully off the porch. Another one of Jaro City rules was that only Jaro City members can deal drugs on their territory. Many fights took place because STL and EBT members made drug sales on Jaro's territory. Although the three gangs didn't really like each other, they still rode together. At the time, 600, TYMB, and Wick City were clicked up and applying pressure. On January 12, 2011, the beginning of an all-out war broke loose. 15-year-old Shondell Gregory, also known as Tooka, was shot and killed on the bus stop. Now let's take a look at what went down.
On the morning of January 12, 2011, Tooka was sent home from school for disrespecting a teacher. Tooka go and hang out in the neighborhood until it was time for his wrestling match. He went back to the school for his wrestling match and won. Tooka was excited. He called and tell his brother the good news. Around 6 o'clock that evening, Tooka along with Lil P and several others were standing in front of the corner store. It was 25 degrees that day. According to Lil P, it was too cold to even be outside that day. They had just finished smoking and rapping at their hangout spot. It was too cold for Lil P. He decided to walk 2 blocks down to the public library to warm up. Tooka go and stand at the bus stop with 2 other people at approximately 6:03 p.m. He calls his mother and tell her about his wrestling match at 6:04. He tell his mother that he's standing at the bus stop about to come home. Minutes later, a car filled with TYMB members allegedly ride past and see Tooka. It's alleged that Tooka threw up a gang sign. Shortly after, a guy wearing a hoodie walks up and asks when's the next bus coming. He go and stand next to Tooka. The guy shoots Tooka. Tooka falls to the ground. The guy stands over Tooka and shoot him 5 more times. The gunman ran and hopped in the back of a blue Chevy Malibu. The car speeds off. Lil P come running back after hearing the gunshots only to see his friend laying on the ground dead. At around 6:15, Tooka mom get the phone call that her son was shot. Her and her boyfriend rushed down to the bus stop. Dutchie, Duck, and other RESTL members all seen Tooka's lifeless body laying on the cold concrete. For almost 6 hours, family, friends, and neighbors stood outside in the cold. A riot even broke out. People were upset that the police kept Tooka's body at the scene for so long.
I am now standing at the crime scene where 3 children were found dead early this morning. The 3 children were reported missing late Monday evening.
Mom, they'll find a serial killer soon. Watch. Rockburg's is way too small.
Yo, but we was this close to winning the championship, bro.
Oh my God, that's my mama's room.
I'll be there in like 5 minutes. What my guys and I saw this morning in the bathroom, it's gonna haunt us for the rest of our lives.
A night to remember, guys.
Let's make memories.
We found the heads in the sink. Took a while to match the heads to the bodies.
This marks the 29th homicide in a 3-month span here in Roxburgh.
Who the hell is Junior High, Sheriff?
Please don't kill me!
Right around the corner, open the door. Is everything gonna be alright, Sheriff?
Sure hope so, detective. Sure hope so.
I know this gonna sound like a crazy question, but I gotta ask. You don't think Junior Heights came back, do you?
Alright, class, listen up. There'll be no school tomorrow. Unfortunately, the 3 girls that were missing found them dead in the bathroom. It's not a game. I'm scared.
I don't got no service, y'all.
What you mean you got
I don't got no service.
If you have any information about any of these homicides, please don't hesitate to contact the Roxburgh Sheriff's Department.
Job stressing me out, man.
It's a fact that Tooka was killed by someone from TYMB. Things began heating up even more in the streets. 600 in Wick City began sliding on Jaro City every day. It was hard for Jaro City, STL, and EBT to be outside in the neighborhood. This is when Twink, Dome, Lil Mikey, 50 Shots, Lil B, and Boss Trail began putting in a lot of work. In the summer of 2011, Dome allegedly, along with Twink and Boss Trail, came on 600 Turf and killed 19-year-old Marcus London, also known as Baldy. Baldy was also down with Front Street. He was good friends with people like Frito Santana, Chief Keef, and Lil Reese. The following month, Wick City would take a major loss.
On August 10, 2011, STL, EBT, Mob and Jaro City all came together to celebrate Tooka's birthday. He would have turned 16 years old. All that day the young gang members hung out in the neighborhood using drugs and drinking alcohol. FBG Duck shot his freestyle video that day as well. Behind the scenes the young gang members were flashing guns and talking about sliding on their ops. The video was so incriminating that it was deleted off YouTube hours later. At around 11:33 p.m., O.D. Perry was out riding a bicycle on the 6400 block of South King Drive. He was seen by someone he knew, leaving a store by the name of Swisher Sweets that was located across the street from Parkway. When O.D. passed AutoZone, multiple witnesses seen a tall man with dreads approach O.D. O.D. gets hit in the buttocks and fall off the bike. He gets up but fall back to the ground. The gunman continues shooting. Another bullet hits O.D. in the neck. Two males were seen by witnesses running away from the scene and hopping in a silver vehicle that was parked near AutoZone. O.D. laid in the street fighting for his life. Many people from Parkway came to tend to him. A lot of Wick City members seen O.D. on the ground bleeding. According to O-Block J Hood, O.D. last words was "They got me bro." Talking to a 17-year-old T-Roy. O.D. Perry was rushed to Stroger Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 12:18 a.m. He was 20 years old.
O.D. Perry was loved by many gangs. Now the whole OTF 300 was feuding with Jaro City, EBT, Mob, and STL. OTF 300 was 600, Wick City, TYMB, Lamron, Front Street, Blackgate, Dog Pound, and a few other gangs all in one. Blocks on Eberhart, Lawrence, Vernon, and Rhodes were getting shot up daily. It came to a point where the older Jaro City members had set up a peace treaty with 600. Lil Boo and D-Thang agreed to meet up and make peace. The two gangs met on King Drive. For some reason, Young attended the meeting. This made D-Thang very upset. According to several people who were there, D-Thang pulls a gun out and pointed it at Young. A 16-year-old Young didn't back down. He told D-Thang to shoot, but was still told to leave the meeting. EBT and STL didn't agree to make peace with 600. OTF 300 were still coming through shooting. They were still mad about OD. That's why people like Chief Keef, Frito Santana, and Lil Reese were coming on roads, shooting at anyone who was outside. STL claimed OD Perry's body. They were now the main targets. According to many OTF 300 members, STL was their weakest ops. They knew that they didn't have many guns, and they knew that there would most likely be no retaliation. It was clear that STL was a weak gang. Members such as Mo Dell ran around with a BB gun snatching tail. It was easy to earn stripes sliding on STL. It should have never been an independent gang. This is when O-Block member T-Roy began catching bodies. The peace between Jaro City and 600 didn't last long. Weeks later, Dome murdered 18-year-old D-Thang. This was a huge loss for 600. The war between Jaro City and 600 was back in full effect. A store surveillance footage caught Dome pointing a gun at D-Thang while D-Thang was sitting in a car. D-Thang ran away, but Dome and another gunman chased him and shot him in the back. The other alleged shooter was no other than Twink. Dome was arrested and charged with D-Thang's murder. He was sentenced to 20+ years in prison. Dome and Twink were some nasty boys. Together, they made Jaro City a feared gang. They both allegedly had multiple bodies. They're one of the reasons gangs like Squirt Town no longer exist. More bodies began dropping. Jaro City was very active at this time. Although Dome was in jail for murdering D-Thang, the gang was still putting in work. Jaro City took a big loss in November of 2011. 17-year-old Carlton Archer, also known as Tutu, was shot and killed, allegedly by 600 members C-Day. Many Jaro City members began claiming Tutu gang to honor their deceased friend. In August of 2012, Jaro City lost 2 more members. On the 8th of August, 28-year-old Dirty Rel was killed by T-Roy from O Block. This broke Jaro City's heart. Dirty Rel was one of the older Jaro City members who the youngsters looked up to. He was around since the beginning of Jaro City. Just hours later, 50 shots and other Jaro City members went to O Block's territory and murdered White by the store. 50 shots was arrested on the spot and charged with the murder. King Von witnessed the shooting. This is when he began his murder spree. On August 30th that year, just weeks after losing Dirty Rel, 17-year-old Jaja was shot and killed by a man outside a laundromat with his mother. Jaja was another Love Jaro City member. Jaro City remained active. Twink and Lil Mikey were both still in the streets sliding daily. Around this time, FBG Duck's older brother Brick was out of jail and hanging out in the neighborhood. Brick was a BD from a set by the name of Beam Team. Most of Brick's friends were on the low end, so he began hanging out with the people in the Woodlawn neighborhood. His little brother friends became his friends. Brick even joined the Flyboy gang rap group and became number 30. He also began claiming STL. Jaro City and EBT both took a liking to Brick because he was a solid person. He always stood on business, and he had their backs. Brick even began sliding with Jaro City and STL. His name quickly began ringing bells in the neighborhood. One day, he went on a hit with members of Jaro City. They had supposed to been sliding on O Block. Once they got near Parkway Gardens, Lil Joe from Jaro City asked for Brick's gun. After Brick gives him the gun, Lil Joe points it at him and tells him that it's his gun now. They told Brick to walk off. Brick did the smart thing and ran off because he was on O Block territory. Brick along with Swiper from Newtown went to talk to older Jaro members. The older Jaro City members basically told Brick that it was his problem and don't touch the young Jaro members on their block. That was all Brick needed to hear. He allegedly broke a few people's jaws and shot Lil Joe multiple times. This started beef between STL and Jaro City. STL members began beating up and robbing people from Jaro City. This around the time FBG Butter and King Lil J was STL crazy. Bostrel allegedly took FYBJ Main's handgun. The two gangs even dissed each other on social media. Jaro City was ready to go to war with STL. One day when STL was ready to talk things out, Jaro City set up a meeting, but planned an attack. When STL came to Vernon to talk, Jaro City members began shooting at them and ran them off the block. Things only got worse. 13-year-old Tyquin Tyler was a kid who often came to the neighborhood to hang out. He was close to people such as KI, FBG Brick, Lil P, and many young Jaro City members. Taekwon even claimed Jaro City.
After, FBG Duck and other STL members allegedly chased a guy out of the party and beat him down for claiming 300. At around 1 a.m., Taekwon was leaving the party with his sister and a group of STL members when a member of Jaro City fired a few shots at the group. One bullet struck Taekwon in the chest. Taekwon's mother pulled up to the scene and, seeing her son laid out the ground fighting for his life, she held him in her arms as he took his last breath. Taekwon was later taken to the University of Chicago Medicine's Cumber Children's Hospital and pronounced dead hours later. The large crowd of people stood at the crime scene grieving. Everyone refused to talk to the police. STL members wanted revenge for Taekwon immediately. FBG Brick and a few others go out looking for Nate from Jaro City. As they leave G Dayske's, the police stops them and find weapons. They were all arrested and FBG Brick would spend the next 4 years in jail. Nate and Wayne from Jaro City both were later arrested and charged with the murder of Taekwon. Nate is now serving 55 years in prison.
Some Jaro City members were later witnesses in court. Even older members such as Twink came to court and took the stand. Nashon Flowers was sentenced to 55 years for the murder of Taekwon. Jaro City was now divided. After Taekwon was killed, many of the younger members began claiming Taekwon World. Taekwon World was basically led by KI. By 2014, they were an active gang in the neighborhood. TW and Jaro City weren't allies. TW was more closer to STL. Taekwon's death really affected KI. Her hatred towards some of the Jaro City members rubbed off on TW. After Twink testified against his own friend, people in the neighborhood began looking at him strange. His name no longer held any weight. Jaro City pretty much disowned him. Dome and 50 Shots were now both in jail and Twink was now pretty much out the game. Jaro City was slowly becoming weaker. P5 Crack was another loved Jaro City member. Even STL and EBT loved P5. He was known for making a lot of money in the streets. While most gangbangers spent most of their time trying to earn stripes, P5 was all about making money and hanging out with females. Some say that P5 was the neighborhood weed man, and some say that he was a crack dealer. On October 30th, 2012, 28-year-old P5 Crack was shot and killed by King Von and several 600 members. Jaro City, STL, and EBT were all heartbroken. P5 was one of Jaro City's most loved members. Jaro City is responsible for turning a young King Von into a demon. Not only did Jaro City kill his close friend White White, but months before that happened, King Von was jumped by Jaro City on the bus. Members even tried to take the 17-year-old life. Now let's clear this up. FBG Butter didn't fight King Von one-on-one. There were many Jaro City and STL members fighting Von, including females. What many don't know is Von used to be cool with Jaro City when he was claiming Kill Award. Everything went bad when they found out that Von was hanging out with Wick City members. That made King Von pick a side. Shaquandra Ratliff, also known as Booby, was one of the females who claimed Jaro City. Some even call her the first female. Booby's family moved into the neighborhood when she was 3 years old. They came from the Robert Taylor homes. Although she claimed Jaro City, she still dated guys from other gangs such as 051 Young Money, Mob, and even Jaro City biggest ops 600. Booby and Lil Boo dated for a few years. The two were really in love. Sometimes Lil Boo would even sneak onto Jaro City's territory to come to Booby's house. Booby would sneak him in and out through the back. One night, FBG Duck, 51 Melly and Dusky, the man finds out that Lil Boo is at Booby's house. Lil Boo was there with fellow 600 member D Rose. Somehow the two makes it out safely. Booby would sometimes go to Lil Boo's place over in 600 territory. Booby and Lil Boo were both playing a dangerous game. According to Take Capone, formerly known as Taste 600, Booby was known to backdoor people. She was also known to fight. One time she even helped K.I. fight King Von's sister Kayla B. In July of 2014, Booby pleaded guilty to a felony retail theft charge and was given community service and placed on court supervision. She had a 1-year-old son at the time. On April 3, 2015, 600 member Lil Boo was shot and killed, allegedly by motor from Jaro City and a few 051 Young Money members. This was a huge hit. Booby took Lil Boo's death extremely hard. On September 5, 2015, Booby drops her son off with her younger sister to attend an outdoor party in an alley in the 6100 block of South Cottage Grove. At around 1:30 a.m., a fight broke out between Jaro City and 051 Young Money. Gunshots quickly erupted. A 20-year-old Booby was shot in the head. Some even claimed she was pregnant at the time. According to Chicago Tribune, the scene turned hectic after the shooting. Multiple fights broke out and people were arrested. Booby was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where she was pronounced dead at 2:29 a.m. Many people believe she was shot by a 051 Young Money member.
She just shot in the head dead. She gone, son gone. So when a mom do that to Melly, it's like paint the city red, crying, hurt. So it's like basically saying like Jaro City got they get back for Booby at that time.
There's a few other popular females who claim Jaro City. Another one was King Von's sister Kayla B. Kayla B grew up in Jaro City neighborhood. Just like Booby, Kayla B dated guys from different gangs. She even allegedly slept with Lil JoJo from Brick Squad. Kayla B didn't mind fighting and stayed getting into it with other females in the neighborhood. She also got into it with the guys. One time she got into it with King Lil J. King Lil J smacks Kayla B and made K.I. jump on her. Another time she got into it with Cray Cray from EBT at K.I.'s Candlelight Memorial. Cray Cray slams Kayla B through a car window like a nasty boy. A bloody Kayla B ran to Parkway Gardens to tell her brother King Von. The next day, King Von and a few O-Block members pulls up on the block looking for Cray Cray. Luckily for Cray Cray, he wasn't around that day. When it was time to pick a side, Kayla B chose to ride with her brother. She no longer claimed Jaro City. Ambriana Collins, also known Ambry, moved into the neighborhood around 2014. She mostly hung out with Motor, Side, and Fat Shotty. A lot of the guys had a crush on a young, beautiful Ambry. It wouldn't be long before she started claiming Jaro City. She wasn't known for fighting, but she was known for holding guns for some of the guys in the neighborhood. Ambry was a hardworking mother. Her son's father died from cancer in October of 2018. Since then, Ambry worked 2 fast food restaurants to support her son. Many people say that Ambry was one of the sweetest people they ever met. But some people say that she was known for backdooring guys. That rumor started because she was accused of setting up Mubu Crump and Melly in 2018. Mubu Crump and Ambry had allegedly gotten into a heated argument at a house party. Ambry then allegedly called up Can't Get Right and others. Later that night, while Mubu Crump and Melly were hanging outside the party, Can't Get Right and the crew allegedly pulls up and open fire, killing Mubu Crump and wounding Melly. Melly was good friends with both Motor and Side. That's probably the only reason Ambry wasn't killed right away. But on January 3, 2019, Side and Motor were both shot and killed. Motor and Side were allegedly killed by members of THF and Blackgate. Days later, Ambry was shot and killed in an alley on South Eberhard. She was shot several times in the chest. Ambry was 24 years old. Many believe that 051 Melly was Ambry's killer. This was too much for Jaro City. In weeks, they lost 3 loved members. Jaro Rail had a mental breakdown. Duck was still close to a few Jaro City members, such as Jaro Rail, Fat Shoddy, Motor, Side, and a few others. Jaro City affiliation with 051 Young Money is what brought Melly to the neighborhood. Like I said, Melly was good friends with several Jaro City members, but was mostly close to Motor and Side. Duck knew that Melly had killed his younger cousin Teacher Raheem back in 2015, but Duck already had too many ops. He knew that it was better to have Melly with him than against him. Now let's talk about the curse of Jaro City parties. First of all, the gang was made at a party when Jarvis was killed back in 2005. Since then, many people began getting killed at Jaro City's house parties. On August 31st, 2019, Jaro City threw a party celebrating Can't Get Right's birthday, who was killed a year prior. Duck didn't trust Jaro City enough to attend the party, and he warned Melly not to go. Oh, 051 Melly was shot and killed by 007 Nate from Taekwon World. Melly and Nate had a personal beef over a gambling debt, which led to Melly shooting up Nate's house. The murder was filmed by Jaro City Travis. Travis even appears to be trying to help Melly, but some people claim that he was going through Melly's pockets. A rumor quickly began going around that Travis and Jaro City backdoored Melly. Jaro City Travis was shot and killed not long after this. Many believe that the hit was done by 051 Young Money from Melly.
My was so STL, now they Jaro crazy. Jaro killed my son. And my cousin. That's why my son was with them no more. That is why.
Now, many people may wondering what Mama Duck's talking about. Well, let's go back to 2016 when FBG Brick was released from jail after serving 4 years and 2 months for the gun charge he had caught the night Taekwon was killed. Members from Jaro allegedly called the cops on Brick that night, fearing for their lives. FBG Duck was the biggest rapper on that side. Everyone knew that he would eventually get a record deal and be as big as Lil Durk and Chief Keef was at the time. Jaro City was no longer trusted by their allies. Due to them living so close to Duck, he had no choice but to be around them. Keep in mind that Jaro City is both a GD and BD gang. And also keep in mind how heavy Jaro City's connection was with 600. Remember Booka 600 and his brother Lil D both claimed Jaro City in the beginning. Their brother Ronte never stopped claiming Jaro City. He continued living in the neighborhood while his brothers relocated to 600 territory. Ronte is also Tay Capone's cousin as well. G Skinny was also kin to many 600 members. 2016 and 2017 were 2 of the deadliest years in the drill world. There were 762 homicides in Chicago in 2016. One of those homicides was 27-year-old Marshawn Jackson, better known as Twink. Shortly after testifying against Taekwon's killer, Twink did a small bit in jail. The day he was released, he was shot multiple times outside the jail but survived. His alleged shooters were 051 Young Money. On June 16, 2016 at around 6 p.m., Twink was gunned down on 63rd and Eberhard. Twink was rushed to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Twink was allegedly killed by 051 and members of his own gang, Jaro City. Nashawn Flowers had allegedly wanted him dead for snitching. Twink is still considered a street legend to many Jaro City members. But taking the stand really destroyed his legacy. It made it hard for Jaro City to honor his name. That's why a Twink Town or a Twink Squad was never made. But let's get back to FBG Brick. After the murder of T. Roy in 2017, the Get Back gang was formed. Some of the members of the Get Back gang were T. Roy's younger brother HK, Munna Duke, E-Dog, Gleesh, Trey 5, BJ, and many 600 members such as Mikado, Just Blow, Cap, Booker, and his brother Lil D. Together, they were some nasty boys. The Get Back gang allegedly killed 10 people from 2017 to 2018. Two of their alleged victims are FBG Brick and Kobe Mack. In July of 2017, both Brick and Kobe were shot and killed in the 6300 block of South St. Lawrence. Many assumed that someone from Jaro City gave the Get Back gang Brick and Kobe's location because the hit was planned a little too well. The following year, FBG Duck took over the drill scene with his hit song Slide. This led to a record deal with Sony. This is when many people tried to hop on the bandwagon. For the next few years, we watched Duck's circle get smaller and smaller. We no longer saw FBG Young and Cash in his videos. We would later find out that they were having issues with Duck's recording contract. According to Mama Duck, Duck didn't know who to trust. After the death of Melly, Duck was mostly only seen with family. FBG Young and Cash both continued rolling with Jaro City. In August of 2020, FBG Duck was shot and killed by O Block members. This was basically the end for STL. They clearly lost the war. This is why both FBG Cash and Young stayed close to Jaro City. On August 14, 2021, Christopher Hughes, also known as Dome, was found dead in his jail cell. At first, it was reported as a suicide, but months later, it was reported by Dome's family that he was murdered after being pepper sprayed. Dome was about to be released from jail in only a few months. He was 34 years old. Dome was serving time for the murder of D Thang back in 2011. While Dome was serving time, many rumors went around that he was using different drugs and living a disgusting life in prison. Dome is a Jaro City legend. The younger members tried to be just like him. When he was out on the streets, Jaro City was powerful. Dome will always be one of Jaro City's most loved members. Fat Shotty was another loved Jaro City member. Everyone in the neighborhood loved Fat Shotty. He was allegedly both the weed and pill man. His father, Big Dale from Jaro City, was deep in the drug game, allegedly selling pills, weed, and cocaine. For years, Big Dale ran a successful drug operation. His son, Fat Shotty, sold so many pills people in Chicago began calling the pills Fat Shotties. Fat Shotty made Jaro City look good. He stayed fly and wore expensive jewelry. Whenever he was around, everything was on him. His closest friend was G Skinny. Although G Skinny was known to be a killer, many people looked at him as a rat. Paperwork from back in 2017 began circulating stating that G Skinny told about the murder that Lil B and Tutu committed back in 2011. Trench's News had broke the story back in 2021. Fat Shotty and other Jaro City members didn't disown Skinny. He still hung out in the neighborhood often and went to the parties. Before I continue, let me tell you more about G Skinny. G Skinny was one of Jaro City's real steppers. He was known for being trigger happy and was even involved in multiple homicides. G Skinny and Fat Shotty were best friends. Big Dale was even fronting Skinny drugs to make money. But G Skinny would end up owing Big Dale money. The two even gotten into a fight over the money shortly after Trench's News broke the story. On October 30th, 2021, Big Dale threw a private party outside the neighborhood. Many people from Jaro City were invited to this party. G Skinny wasn't invited for obvious reasons. Later that night, G Skinny shows up to the party. Big Dale asked G Skinny to leave, but G Skinny refused. A small fight took place and both G Skinny and Fat Shotty was shot and killed. Fat Shotty's brother PBG Bubby had allegedly shot G Skinny in the neck and the bullet exited his neck, fatally hitting Fat Shotty. But according to several Jaro City members, G Skinny gunned down Fat Shotty, and then PBG Bubby immediately gunned down G Skinny. While G Skinny was lying dead on the ground, FBG Cash allegedly picks G Skinny gun up from the floor and ran out the party. That's the reason Cash was being accused of killing G Skinny. Fat Shotty was 27 years old and G Skinny was 28. This was another huge loss for Jaro City. As you all can see, Jaro City was a big part of the drill movement. They've been around for nearly 2 decades. Jaro City was made before many of the gangs in the drill world. STL, O Block, EBT, Taekwon World, TYMB, and 600 were all made after Jaro City was started. Jaro City has lost close to 50 members and is still around today. STL and EBT are both now basically extinct. Lil Mikey from Jaro City was recently released from prison after serving 13 years. Since he's been home, he's been keeping Jaro City's name alive by doing interviews and dropping music. If Lil Mikey stay focused, he could be one of the next big drill rappers in Chicago. His reputation is solid, and he's been around since the beginning. Unlike many new drill rappers, Lil Mikey actually participated in the war. FYBJ Main is now pushing peace. He's a popular YouTuber and maybe the most popular Jaro City member today. He even walked in O Block to push peace, but was quickly kicked out by E-Dog. FYBJ Main no longer lives in Chicago and is probably the most successful Jaro City member as well. He has more than 400,000 YouTube subscribers and average millions of views monthly. Can't wait to see what he does next. Jaro City may be around for another few decades. They are still a popular gang in Chicago, and they are still growing to this day. Well, this was the Jaro City story. Take care, and I'll see you all next time. Good night.